Hello and welcome to the Futro Hidden Movie Gems podcast. I'm your host, Ty Spiker Christensen. I got worms. That's what we're going to call it. I got worms. We specialize in worm farms.
Excuse
Uh,
me?
that's not the quote from this movie, folks. It is desert power keeps me safe from sin. I think that's the quote, right? Guys, oh my gosh. Jordan Christensen's on the podcast.
I love this movie.
That was in the movie,
Yeah,
actually.
that was
When Timothy
that was
Chalamet looked at the camera and he goes, I love this movie. I love being in this movie, and I love being typecast as the boy who needs to become a man, and particularly a very powerful man who leads the whole army and
with his speech.
in the
Cameron mentioned
world.
that in his review. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because dude, I was looking at Netflix and The King is out again. Oh, it's on Netflix, so good. And we've got Cameron Mickle on the
Out again?
podcast.
It's always been on Netflix. I thought it was a Netflix original.
Probably is. And we got Cameron Mickle on the podcast.
Lisan Al Gaib. He's
Oh,
he's too humble to admit that he is Lisan Al Gaib. Furthermore, emphasizing
more
he
proof.
is Lisan Al
He
Gaib.
is.
Or even freaking, dude, not the grandfather worm. That thing is huge.
There's nothing that you could do to convince him that Timothy Chalamet is not Lisan Al Gaib.
Yeah, literally telling him he's not, and he's like,
I
it's
love
another
anything he
side.
did. Anything he did, he was like, as was prophesied.
More proof, yeah, that he is. That's really cool. I want to talk about that, the theme of, religion, belief, faith, like that. That was a really cool quote. My
Mhm.
other favorite quote was like, you underestimate, what it is like, he said, I think it was the mother that said it, right?
Do you know what
Rebecca
quote
Ferguson's
actually?
character, she's like, you underestimate the power of their faith or something like that, which I thought was good.
Do you know what
Really
quote
good.
actually like had me laugh out loud in theater and nobody else laughed? Is the part when the
Was
lady's
it
like,
Christopher Walken
"Y-
spoke or no?
"Oh well, that yeah," but no,
Every time he
actually,
spoke, I laughed.
was when the girl, no,
Silence.
yeah, the guy, Timothy does his voice on the witch lady, and then she falls back and she's like, "Heresy."
See?
Oh, dude, that had me. That was great.
Yeah, he used the voice. It's really just the voice
Wow.
of the. That's what it is. This crazy
When
wench
Paul
is
uses the
coming.
voice, it's so sick.
No, I'm making fun of it because the voice is puts the foot down.
I'm well aware what you were insinuating, Ty.
Yes,
It's a good thing though.
I hate cutting all this.
All right, guys, we're doing Dune 2, or also known as Denis Villeneuve has Dune it again.
But I'm just
There you go.
nice.
Boom. That's my one per episode. I need a dad joke. Guys, Dune 2, this movie's in theaters right now. Go see it.
In
I
the
have a
IMAX.
confession to make. Well, I have the confession to make. I just found out I live like 25 minutes from one of the 185 theaters that has IMAX. Across the entire United States, there's 189 theaters. And I'm like, I go to a movie theater that's 25 minutes away. If I go 30 minutes away, there's an IMAX theater. I could
Did
have
you
been
see it in
seeing,
IMAX, Cameron, or not?
I've not, and I'm going to go see this in IMAX. So, anyway, very excited to go see it in a bigger screen and to go see it again because my movie theater going experience was very pleasant. Everyone was very mature. The theater was very quiet, even though there's a lot of snacks being heard. It's like everyone was like quiet during the quiet moments, which I love.
Well, the
So
lady
especially
next to me whipped out her phone midway through. I wanted to smack her. Use the voice on
just
her. Yeah, use the voice. Put
use
away
the
your
voice.
phone.
Silence. Silence that contraption.
But I just angled myself so I didn't have to see the light blazing in my
You
eyes.
angled yourself.
Yeah,
You
because
mean like you
I just
shifted in your chair?
yeah.
I just imagine you like bent over your movie theater chair. You're like, I just angled myself
Basically, just
over my
lean
chair.
forward.
And I couldn't see her. That's so funny. Dude, I just want to do the motion, the knife.
Oh yeah.
Heck
May
yeah.
your blade chip and shatter.
May your blade chip and shatter. Dude, talk about one of the most cool choreographed
All right,
knife
wait,
fights.
let's get let's get
Oh
into it.
yeah, sorry. I know. I get to talk about this movie already. Guys, what was your experience watching it? I saw it in the theaters. You guys saw it in theaters. What do you guys think? What was it like watching this movie for the first time?
Are you just talking in general? Or are you gonna pick somebody?
You both
I can
talk over
go.
each other.
We just
Um,
about start talking with the
Fight to the
Safdie
death,
brothers.
yeah. Just talk at the same time.
Uncut gems.
Yeah.
Everybody's talking over
um,
each other.
all right, Jordan, you want to go then?
Oh, I mean, if you want me to, I'll speak. This is the
I mean, because
first time
you were joking
I'm
about talking over me, but then you were
I,
talking over me.
I'm really excited to possibly see this again with Grant. And I want to go see it again in the IMAX because that's the only way to watch it. Ty, I'm sorry, but it was like
I'm
heaven.
gonna see that's I know I'm glad I saw it on this, and then when I watch it again, it'll be that much better, and I'll be like, wow,
Yeah. Oh my
right?
gosh. Like the sound, everything was perfect.
Mm.
And because I rewatched the first one in preparation for this one, and I'm glad I did because I forgot about some of the stuff. It was really funny because my wife had completely forgotten a bunch of things. She's like, "Who are these women in the hoods and stuff, the veils?" And she like uh couldn't quite follow it. So I appreciated the world building from that first one, but this one is so much better
You're like,
because there's
honey,
like
keep up, you're cramping my style.
I just I felt like there was real like golden character development personally. At least that's what I read in Cameron's review, and I totally agree. I thought they really fleshed out the characters, especially
You were just stealing what I said, huh?
especially the two favorite ones, which I'll get into my two favorite things, but um really love this movie and very excited to watch it again. Hopefully, I haven't put it in my. I didn't put it on my top 100 yet because that'd be recency bias. So I'm gonna watch it again. We'll see how I feel.
Yeah, I've only made that mistake once, and I won't do it again. Everything Everywhere All at Once. I do like it, but I still think I like the
Swiss Army Man way
Swiss Army
better.
Man
Oh
better.
yeah.
Yeah. All right, Cameron, how about you? What was it like watching this movie for the first time?
Yeah, I hadn't seen Dune 1 since the theaters. And so I watched it Friday in preparation for watching Dune 2 Saturday. And it
And
was
you
fun
got
because
it
I
just
watched it
before it
with
left Netflix, right? That's very important.
and so it was fun to watch it because Drew and Colton, my roommates, were super like they're super big into the lore. I think one of them's read the book and the other one just knows a lot about kind of the lore. And so they were giving me like all of this context and understanding of because the first movie I just didn't really understand completely like the politics because it's very similar. It reminds me like Dune 1 is essentially season 1 of Game of Thrones where there's like so many different like politics and plot lines going on that I'm like
And characters.
and they just keep throwing around like
World
names and
building.
like house
Yeah.
names and like these things where it's like you have to pick it up on the first time otherwise it's like all right, what's going on? Because like, oh, the House Atreides and like the Arachnids and or the Arkanins, and I'm like, oh no, fudge, there's too many names going on, like who's who, like who. And so it was really fun to watch it with them, and they were just like explaining a lot of kind of the context and like helping me understand like how this leads into the second one. And so that's what made my viewing in the second one even that much more enjoyable is understanding all that context. I also watched like the first 15 minutes of the old Dune. Golly, it's so bad.
Yeah, I couldn't even get through it. It's bad.
Yeah. But it was really interesting to just like on the viewing. I was just like so blown away because for me, the first one is like an excellent film, like a so movie. It's because it's just hard to like sit down with a group of people and be like, let's watch this, especially if people like aren't really big into movies, like because then it's kind of like, oh, this is really slow, like pacing. I don't think it's that slow pacing just because there's so much happening, but but because there's not a lot of action that goes on, it's kind of hard to like I feel like digest. But whereas watching this one for the first time, oh my gosh, just like yeah, it's a spectacle. It's a spectacle, both like action, like cinematography, everything is just so impressive. So I like had such an enjoyable experience watching it, and because I wasn't the biggest fan of it's like Dune was my I think sixth favorite Denis film. And then like and this isn't making it into my S tier of Denis films, but still like it's really high on A. Like for me it's above Arrival and Incendies, but like just barely. But I think it's like so like enjoyable.
Well, you said it's not a big crowd movie, but I feel like
No, the
everybody
second
I
one is.
oh,
The
well, even the
first
first one
one.
for whatever reason people are like really love it. Like I just I don't know.
Well,
I felt like
it's mainly because it's a book. It's because it's a book. A lot of more people are naturally drawn to it and like down to watch it.
interesting. Yeah, I don't know.
Or
It's
even like you could argue like it's clearly he's adapting a book with much reverence because I feel like as of late
yeah,
there's
that's
plenty
a
of
good
properties that are being completely butchered and cut up and adjusted for
Well,
modern
because
audiences.
To me, Jordan, because Jordan, I talked to you about this. I think it's the difference between Blade Runner the first one and Blade Runner 2049. Where Blade Runner the first one, it's like there's just so much. It's like just much more subtle, and it doesn't feel like a whole lot like more like sci-fi action flick than
Well,
like Blade Runner 2049 gives you more of like the action flick,
Oh,
if
and I
that makes
totally
sense.
agree with you and everything you're saying. I'm just curious as to why so
what?
many
Blade Runner
people.
2049 had less action than the Harrison Ford in the first Blade Runner. I definitely think the
Oh,
first one had more
maybe,
Really?
yeah.
action. I mean, it's corny action, like a lady doing gymnastics and putting you in a headlock is kind of silly, but
It's
I definitely think it had more action than like Ryan Gosling walking around for 48 minutes, like in a desert, putting his hand in a beehive. I mean,
See, no, but
that's
that's just
freaking
because
out
it's
for no reason. You're
longer.
like, what is going on?
I still think I still think it might overall have more action, but
mm,
You know what? We
but
should do a compilation and do all the action scenes and see even just time wise, but then also compare the action. I totally agree, because it is funny because I'm like the movie is like 3 hours long, so it's like maybe there is like over 25 minutes of action, so you could argue it is action. But in my mind, I'm like, I honestly think there's more thrilling action in the first one
I well,
than
I
in
guess all I was trying to say earlier was I was just surprised how well the audience received the first movie. Because I know you said it's in reverence, Ty, and I can see that.
Mm,
But it's just like I felt like the characters were not very fleshed out. Like they were very much in this one. And I can see why
mm.
people like this one, but that first one, I just I was like, man, like it's a good world building, but at the same time,
well,
like
it does just feel like a part one.
that's true. Yeah, you
It's
can't.
almost
It's
like this was orchestrated. Speaking of which, we're going to talk about spoilers. I have a
half a film.
spoiler. I kind of knew going in, I was like, I very much doubt he's going to make two parts. Like, I had a sneaking suspicion. I was like, this is going in the way of Across the Spider-Verse. Like, we live in a time now where it's like, I'm going to make my masterpiece, 3 movies, it's a trilogy. Um, Keep in mind some of the best trilogies, like I mean, like Lord of the Rings, The Bourne
Mm.
Ultimatum, they are overlapping stories. Some
Dark
pieces
Knight, you gotta include that one,
well,
brother.
sure. Toy Story, like there's plenty, but what I was saying was like Toy Story, for example, like it was originally just made as a one-off. Whereas like Lord of the Rings, they did know they had two other movies. Dune, one, very clearly knew that we have to at least get a second movie off the ground. And I wonder if Denis Villeneuve, somewhere along the production on this movie, he was like, "Oh, we're definitely going to get greenlit for a
Well,
next one,"
no,
or they
there's
already
three
filmed some of
parts
it.
to this story. Like because there's the third part is called Dune Messiah. So that's what I went in knowing because Colton and Drew were explaining it to me.
Yeah,
Like they were like, oh, there's going to be a third part called Dune Messiah.
Well, but is
yeah.
that in the first book or is that the second book? What is that?
I'm so confused that it's either there's either three books that's like
I've
one
heard there's like
part.
13. I thought there was like a bunch of books.
Yeah, but there's like three books that's part one or something like that. Kind of
Mm.
like Star Wars, how it's like the first like New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, and like how that's separated. Like I think it's kind of like one of those things, but I don't know. I don't understand anything about the
Oh, we
books or know
should
anything
have
about
brought
it.
on
So
Colton or Drew. Asked him.
Ty, what was it like for you?
I did mention like I saw this in the theater. Unlike Jordan, I didn't have to, fold myself over a chair or change my angle or whatever. Everyone was very mature. I snuck in my own popcorn, much at my wife's behest. She's always embarrassed because I'm sneaking in food because I'm like, why pay for $10 popcorn when I can pop perfectly good popcorn at home and bring it in a backpack, take it into the theater with me? Yes, I think is it a crime? Is it literally a crime to bring in food into a movie theater?
Oh,
Allegedly. I'm not actually breaking the law. This is just, in theory, I was enjoying some popcorn that may or may not have been purchased at the movie theater. But I'm very smart about it because here in Wisconsin it's freezing, so I take in a coat over my backpack. So I just go in with a humpback. I look like Peter Sellers, in Pink Panther.
wasn't your hump on the other
Hello.
side?
Yeah. So I'm like literally have popcorn and my have like steam coming out of my shoulder, my my neck, the nape of my neck because there's like steamy buttery popcorn. Anyway, sit down. I also brought Nerds Chips Ahoy. I just brought all the
We
good
didn't know
snacks.
we didn't need to know every snack you had. We cared
Well,
about
I
what
kind
you
of
was like
that
watching.
kind
This is
of does
important
play
to
a
the
part in how
buildup,
much I
Cameron.
enjoy the movie. Yeah, I also had nerd clusters, which are the freaking best candy in the world. So I was
Yeah,
sipping.
you were on the episode when Ty talked about Tenet, Cameron, and he built up before he talked about Tenet, he built up how much like he had his Taco Bell and all his
Yeah, I had
stuff.
Taco Bell. I had it all set up. I had my order of Taco Bell. Honestly, I enjoy, like, really enjoy films when I'm just like chilling and eating. Dune Part 3, I'm gonna have like a Mexican fajita on a frying pan
Sizzling.
sizzling. Anyway, so I was super excited to see this because I enjoyed Dune 1, and me and my wife were both super exhausted. We watched Dune 1 again, and we were both like it was like 9 o'clock at night, and we still had like an hour and 40 minutes left of the movie, right?
Yeah.
Because we watched the first 40 minutes or something. And we were like, started Dune 1, and we were like just mesmerized. Like we couldn't stop watching. It like literally woke us back up. We were super like just tapped in. And I don't even remember. I remember liking it in the theater, but I do remember thinking like, okay, like I'm excited for the see where the story goes. I'm excited to see how they build on these characters. Because I'm like, it was definitely good. And I thought it was gonna be a two-parter. And I know a lot of people were upset that it was a one-parter because the story itself kind of feels like it ends, but like it doesn't have a satisfying conclusion. And I'll give it to some people where they say like it doesn't feel like a complete narrative. I'm like so movies like Titanic are 3 hours long. Dune, the first one was only 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Now this one is 2 hours and 42 minutes, but man, it goes by fast. Because there's definitely, I think, more story beats and compelling, like a narrative from beginning to end. Like this movie does feel like more of a cohesive story, whereas the first one kind of just ends almost where it's starting to get interesting, which is
Yeah.
evidenced by this movie. It's like, oh, there's a lot to chew on in this movie. I get it, the world building and everything else, but like even across the Spider-Verse, into the Spider-Verse movie, that it was like a perfect narrative movie where it teased like an idea of a sequel, and then the second one ends on such a cliffhanger. So it's like I almost am. This has the reverse effect of so Dune Part 1 and 2 is doing the opposite of Into the Spider-Man or Into the Spider-Man
Into
into
the
the
Spider-Man.
Spider-Verse and across the Spider-Verse, right? Because that movie ends on a cliffhanger. The sequel ends on a cliffhanger. This one does have a cliffhanger, but it still feels like a narrative movie overall. Kind of like Dawn of the Planet of the Apes did, right? That movie was like, now it's war, right? Like that's this third part. And they never nailed a landing for the third part. I'm worried. I think Denis
And
Villeneuve
they've
has
already
his work cut
announced
out for him.
a fourth or fourth
Did they
movie.
seriously announce Dune
Yeah.
4?
No,
But
not Dune, not Dune.
oh, oh, okay.
I said
Yeah, another
Planet
ape
of the
movie,
Apes,
right?
yeah.
I saw that and I'm like, okay, maybe they can get another shot to make a good a good third movie because that movie was no good. Word Planet of the Apes was trash. I mean, it was okay, but it's a letdown because the first two were awesome. Anyway, so I'm excited. I think Denis Villeneuve has a great opportunity to make like a really compelling and awesome trilogy, and it will feel cohesive. It'll feel like an epic. Um, and I think the movies tie together really, really
Well,
well because
based
of
on
just one.
interviews though, he says he wants more time. He's worried with it being so popular, the studio is going to be like, we need it out like right now. So
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve's like, I don't want to rush it. I want to
I
just
know.
people a little bit. They're like, oh, give me some freaking candy right now, and then we have to wait 2 years. Like that's crazy. That's absurd. Just give him whatever money he needs. He'll make
And
a
the
good
time he
movie.
needs, please.
Yeah, that's true. Don't
Don't
rush
rush
it.
it because
But I
otherwise
still
it'll just fall, you know.
but I'm worried in like another 2 years, Timothy Chalamet's not going to be like a young boy anymore.
I don't know. He looks like he's going to be young
he,
forever.
he looks like a perpetually young man. Yes.
He's going to be like Leonardo DiCaprio, who he just never ages.
But Leo does age. Let me tell you, he does age.
Well, and
His
Killers of the
girlfriends
Flower
don't
Moon,
though.
I think.
That bulldog ages.
Which
Guys,
I
we need
rewatched,
to.
by the way. It's amazing. You guys are
Is it good?
high. It's so
I
good.
actually will be honest. I'm willing to give Killers of the Flower Moon another shot. Like I do want
It's
to
so good.
rewatch it because
Well,
yeah,
but you guys are
strong
also not
expectations.
fans
But
of Casino, which it feels like Casino.
I like Casino.
Okay.
Probably not as much as Goodfellas, and probably not as
Well,
much as
that's what I'm
Departed
saying.
or
It feels
Raging
like,
Bull. Yeah.
it's
All right,
So
do you want to get into our two favorite things?
yeah. So as I was saying, let's get to two favorite things. Jordan, hit us up.
oh, I, I'll probably take in somebody's, but
I want to hear it. Yeah.
the two obviously the experience in the IMAX was amazing. Just that's a side note. But my two
Yeah.
favorite characters was the religious
One.
guy and the bald
So are
dude.
you talking about Javier Bardem, Stigler,
Yes, Javier
or
Bardem.
Stilgar?
I just
Stilgar.
Cameron already mentioned it, got into the idea of like anytime any doubt or anything would happen, he'd be like, the Messiah would do that, like, or whatever they called him. And
As prophesied.
yeah, as prophesied. I loved him.
The Lisan Al Gaib.
And
Nissan
then
Alcade.
second is the villain. And I mentioned this in the first one. I loved the world building and just spending time in the creepy world, and we got to spend more time there. And I was so happy
Is
because
it the black and white planet or whatever?
yeah, yeah.
Bright sun.
And there was an amazing shot when he was looking at her. I was almost worried somebody in the theater was gonna have like a seizure because it was like blinking lights. But that shot when it reminded me of Blade Runner when they're walking down that really cool uh, what was it? Like when he's checking the files or something. Anyways, there's a really cool like scene where he's looking at her and it's just like mesmerizing. The lighting is perfect.
And by
And
the villain, you're referring to Fade Harkonnen, played by Austin Butler,
yeah, is he the
bald guy.
Mommy
well, I guess they're
issues.
all bald, but
Serial
yeah.
killer, murderous.
Oh, I
Yes,
know,
Mommy
killed
and
his mommy.
murderer. Yeah, that
I
guy.
know,
Yeah, yeah.
psycho.
Hey, cousin. Hey, I have no problem killing family. I've already done it already. You're
I know.
like, psycho.
Yeah, and I just so good. Like Cameron mentioned Game of Thrones too. It seriously reminded me so much of Game of Thrones, in which, we never got a perfect last season. So this kind of felt like a nice
Like, thanks, Danny Villeneuve. I'm vicariously living your sci-fi epic through another TV show that I wish would have ended better.
yeah. So thank you, Denny.
Oh, it's so funny. I love it. Still bit
Love it.
racy. Love it. Cameron, how about you? Two of your favorite things?
Yeah, I mean, there's a million things that are amazing. I'll just go to specific scenes. To me, the two best scenes in the movie for me was after drinking like the poison, and how that when
Worm
he
blood
walks in,
or
when he
Dawn
walks
dish
in,
soap is pretty much what it was, right? I mean, I'm no
yeah,
practical effects artist, but that was just Dawn dish soap, right? Anyone else see that?
it,
Just blue worm
definitely
juice.
it definitely looked like blue Gatorade
Oh,
or
that's
something,
right,
but
worm piss.
More like no, it wasn't
no, so
piss.
but
It was the worm
I
blood.
know, but the girl
Blue
called it worm piss. Remember? She's like,
Oh yeah.
there she goes.
Yeah, what are you gonna do with my mom in there? They're gonna make her drink worm piss. They like took that worm, stuck a little turkey baster in it, and
anyway,
sucked out the blue Dawn juice. I was like, oh
It did
like
look
I
like
was saying.
Gatorade, Cameron. I thought more than Don Juice.
no, Dawn soap.
Anyway, so what
Dish soap. You know what I'm talking
You
about.
don't
my
drink it,
favorite
Tide? It's Don
scene.
Juice.
Will you let me speak?
If you could clean dishes with it, it is edible, I think. Just careful when you belch, bubbles. Okay, watch out for the bubbles. What were you saying, Cameron?
So my first favorite thing, the scene was when he walked in after drinking the poison, and I just thought it was so cool, that shift in his character and how after kind of seeing the full picture,
When he was
um,
resurrected?
yeah,
Oh, okay, sorry.
like when he walks into the meeting where it's like you can only speak if you're a leader, and then you're
Mm.
not allowed to speak if you're a woman at all, and so I just thought that was so cool when he walks in or whatever, and then he just, because before the entire show or the entire movie he's been denying, like, I'm not the Messiah, I'm not like whatever you guys think that I am, I'm just some dude, I'm just trying to learn your ways. And then I love when she sees the full picture. It reminds me a lot of Doctor Strange in Infinity War, how he acts super different after seeing all the different possibilities. Um, to me, I just thought it was so cool how he sees the full picture, and then now he's just a totally kind of like different approach to the interaction. I love he just walks up there and he's like, I'm the son of Atreides. He's like, I'm the Messiah. And then like, everyone's kind of like, yo, this dude is like saying blasphemy, and like whip out the knives. Then he walks
And
up
then
to
he's
the
like,
dude. And
I know how you got that limp, and I know you don't love your wife or something. I don't remember what he said. That's right.
no,
You get the
he
idea.
was like, he was telling him, he's like, I know what you've been praying for, and he's like, and I know you've been praying for your grandmother who's sick, and I know that
Oh,
she
that's
was
what it
praying
was.
for
It
this
was
exact
much more
moment.
heartwarming. I thought it was like, and you can't stand your mother-in-law, wish she would die already. Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, like I just thought, like, because I thought it was so cool for Paul to see, because especially the speech that he gets from his dad, um, played by Oscar Isaac in the first movie, is so cool because you see how he says like, well, I don't know if that's what I want to be, and that's what makes it that much cooler once he sees kind of like, oh, this is like, I need to be this. And so him just kind of rising to the occasion. And I just thought that scene was so cool where he just kind of like wins over everybody. And then like almost everyone in the room starts believing, similar to how Stilgar believes. Like everyone's like, yeah, he's the Messiah. Like he's like, I've come to lead you to paradise. And everyone's like,
Still wish he could be killed by him though. Like every waking minute, he's like, "You must kill me now." It's like,
yeah.
"Yo,
Well,
I'm not gonna kill you. Please kill me. Take my dagger.
and
Stab me with it."
and,
Guy's praying
and
for death.
the speech reminded me a lot of the king, and so that's
Yeah.
why I just love it. I just like it's so impressive because he's not like a super brooding like stature or just kind of like your typical, especially in I feel like times like this, leaders where usually it's like by size, stature, and strength. I
He
just think
put
it's
on
so
some
cool that
muscle. Really? No.
I just yeah,
Reference.
exactly. Like Duncan, Idaho is a great example. Like, of course, Jason
Right.
Momoa, it's gonna be like your typical what you would like imagine a leader in a kind of a world or universe like this. But that's what I love is he's like smaller in stature but like he's so humble and learning of others that he like commands so much respect and like admiration from others. And so I thought
Well,
his speech was super cool.
and they set that up, Cameron, because you said it's based on strength and stuff normally. Well, in the first movie, they even said like you're weak now, so like I'm in charge, and the guy like basically fought him to prove like who's the alpha here. I find that
Yeah.
fascinating.
Wait, beat
Yeah,
him
that is
down when
true.
he gets like forced to the floor to kiss Fade's boot, or is that what you're talking about? Or which?
No,
Oh
he's
yeah,
talking about the end of the first one when the guy's like, "You're weak. You don't deserve to be in our crew," and then he kills one of the best fighters
Oh
in
well,
their
well,
crew.
yeah, Jameis, but Jameis wasn't his issue the fact that he thought they were spies, and I think there
yes,
was
it,
something
it
else
has to
to
do
it.
with that. But then the religious guy was calling the shots. He's like, "Don't kill them," and he's like,
Oh,
"You're,"
but yeah,
and
you
then he
bested
says,
our
"Yeah," and he
leader,
says, "You're
and
weak."
therefore, yeah,
Yeah,
I will fight in your place. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Which is kind of interesting. They had like those rules of engagement and stuff, and but yeah, that plays. I like how that does play a part in this movie as well because he like does away with traditions.
My second scene that I loved is just when he like murders his grandfather and then also kind of challenges the emperor. I just thought that scene was so amazing. Like he just walks in and after like well first off it was like the most insane like triple attack. It reminded me so much of like Napoleon or like Game of Thrones where it's just like there's so many different fronts they're attacking on and different strategies and you're like, "Oh my gosh,
Yeah, it's
this is
hard to call it
insane."
a war. It felt more like an annihilation. They just came in and
Yeah, it was a massacre. And then they just walked in or whatever, and he just walks in there or whatever, and he's like, "Hello, grandfather." I was like, "Oh, snap." And so I just thought like,
and right before when he's trying to crawl his way to the seat.
yeah. Um,
I
and
guess he thought
I
if he
didn't
could
know that
sit in
I
that
didn't know
throne, he could command the shots, right? Is that what the idea was? He's like, if I can just sit my fat butt in that chair, I call the shots. Is that how it works? Like, that's what I was getting. I was like,
Oh,
he's
I
going for
see
the
it more as
throne.
like he needs his throne. Like like
Yeah,
it's this like obsession for an
yeah,
idol,
yeah,
you know.
yeah. That's good. I like that.
and then
Real
I just thought it
King
was
Noah, if you will.
I
Mhm.
thought it was so cool how
Book of
he
Mormon
fought
deep
him.
cut. Sorry.
I just loved that battle between Austin Butler and Timothy. Like that like it was crazy how like it was such a stressful moment that like our entire theater was silent. Like you could hear a pin drop. Everyone was just like holding their breath. Like that's what I love too, is because of the character development that Jordan mentioned, it made those moments a lot more like weighted because
Mm.
you're like, oh my gosh, I actually care like that Paul survives. Because before you're kind of like, oh, I hope he lives. But it's like in this, you're like, yo, Paul, you're gonna be the ruler of
It's
these
like,
people, and you're
oh, the
challenging
worm
some
eats him.
psychopath. Yeah, like, well, and that's what's, and I love that Josh
I get what
Brolin
you're
is like
saying.
trying to convince him. He's like, my lord, don't like Gurney is trying to be like, dude, don't like essentially like waste your time with this psychopath. And then Paul's like, no, like I gotta show people that I'm like especially in that time you have to show
He's
that
like, I
you're
gotta
a
walk the
ruler.
walk. I can't
Yeah,
just be
he's like, I
talking the
gotta show
talk.
them that I'm a ruler by power. Like I'm not just gonna have other people die for me. And so I thought that was so cool that he always like will fight with his people and he'll never ever put another person's life in harm, like over his own, which I think that's why everyone admires him so much. And that's what made that scene so fire when he was like walking up to Zendaya too. And he's like, just know I'll love you forever. And he's like, all right, Emperor, take your daughter for to spouse. I was like,
Cameron's like, he's living my dream, man. Telling Zendaya, telling her
no,
off and marrying
I
Florence Pugh.
I mean,
Pew
yeah,
pew.
I'm not the biggest Zendaya fan, but
Me
So
neither.
she
Cameron's
did
like, I would
Okay.
definitely take Florence Pugh over her.
she did pretty good in this role though. I was impressed.
Oh gosh, Cameron, I'm so sorry. So I'm gonna get into two of my favorite things, but it can't be. I have to say, Zendaya. I don't know. I don't think she did very good.
No, and especially in the first movie,
uh,
she does one expression, which is
which but I don't mind the expression. The less I heard her talk, the better it was, because as she
Yes.
started talking, I was like, who is this person? Like, if
Yeah.
she's lived in the desert her whole life, she's just like, you're not even like a real messiah, man. Like, I don't know. She just seems like some chick in California. Like, yeah, like I think it would have been funnier if she even just dialed it up a little bit more and was like Cher from Clueless. She's like, as if, like anyway, her character kind of annoyed me because at the end it's like he's like, trust me, I love you, and then like I'm gonna. It's like, did she not see this as like a political stunt? Because obviously it doesn't mean anything, and or he's not gonna go through with it.
I think she
Like he
saw
literally
it,
was.
and that's why she was worried about the whole thing and didn't want it to
She
happen.
saw it. What do you mean? She saw through it? Because if she did, she wouldn't have acted so pissy at the end and
Oh, that's
stormed
true.
off. Like that's
Yeah.
my point. And I'm like, are you so stupid? Girl, you are so dumb. Like, trust Paul.
You are so dumb.
Trust
I know,
Paul. But
because
anyway,
I saw it like way long time ago. I'm like,
I,
he has to, marry
no, no. So,
into,
so like
huh?
there's the visions that he keeps having where he's like, this girl either murders me or she loves me. I don't know which, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, at the end of this movie, you're like, oh, she's gonna get angry because she's like, there he is off marrying Florence Pugh. And it's like, yeah, again, girl, just keep your pants on, okay? Like calm the freak down. Anyway,
I
it just bothered me. So yeah,
Can
Cameron,
I
I
guess
agree.
what your second favorite thing is?
Sure, go
Is
for
it
it.
Anya Taylor-Joy? Please.
Oh, so okay, okay. So
You
there's
probably
a part.
lost your mind in the theater. I know
Of
you
course I
did.
did. Of course I did. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh freak, she made a part in this. Of course she did because she's awesome. She's like my favorite actress right now. I'm so glad that she got in because now that she's in, she's in. Danny Villeneuve might need an actress again. She's gonna be the one anyway.
Well, yeah, she's the daughter.
Oh, I
Yeah.
know. I'm just saying, like, not only will she be in future movies, but I mean, like, other properties that Denis Villeneuve directs. Once you get in,
Oh, I
it's
see what you're
like, oh,
saying.
I've
Yes.
worked with
Danny
her
does
before. She's
reuse
great.
all his
Yes,
actors. Yeah.
100%. So she's gonna keep getting work, and if she
Ty's
keeps
like,
working with
yes.
actors,
Jake Gyllenhaal wasn't in this, so no, he doesn't reuse all his actors.
He
I know,
did.
I know.
He used Jake Gyllenhaal twice, Prisoners and
I'm
Enemy.
aware, I
Uh,
know, but he reuse them again, Nugget.
Jake Gyllenhaal, he has to be the main character, Cameron. So
Yeah,
I
he
think
could have
I
been.
think he
He
could
could
have
have been.
done Josh Brolin's part. It would have been kind of interesting. Um, but I think
Are
it's
you
very
kidding me?
easy to
He would have. He
confuse.
would have done a
It'd
better
be too
job than
easy to
Austin Butler.
confuse Timothy Chalamet and Jake Gyllenhaal. If they were in the same room
No,
together,
I
it's like
thought
these two handsome boys. Who the freak are they?
he would have
Anyway,
been. He would have been excellent as Austin Butler's character,
Austin Butler.
oh,
the
the
psycho,
Psycho.
the psycho bald.
Okay, I haven't seen. Yeah, since Nightcrawler, which was even still
Oh yeah.
restrained, very restrained, even though unhinged at a very specific time. I don't know. I don't know if I could see him as like the yelling, shouting. Like they did such a good job of just being over the top, screaming, eyebrowless, bald head freak. Like I don't know. That was great. So my second favorite thing, though, you guys got me distracted, was the imagery and the symbolism. Now, again, I love people forming religion and beliefs for
Yes.
political power. I don't know why it's like one of the most sinister and evil that I freaking love it. So Rebecca Ferguson playing Jessica and the sisterhood, the Charlotte Rampling that plays the Reverend Mother Mohine. Those women are freaking awesome. I
Yeah.
don't know why. Okay, so
Terrifying.
here's the thing. This is the thing that bothers me with modern day cinema. It's like they make women so much like men, where they're tough and they're powerful, and they just need men to get out of their way to realize how good they are. These women use their maternal instincts and their femininity to their advantage. So they carry the seed of future kings, which I think is really, really cool. They
And I love
literally
that.
are like plot. They're like, okay, make
Yeah.
sure you conceive a daughter, and
Yeah.
they like somehow have control over that. And then like Rebecca Ferguson's like, and she does like this amazing mind moment where she's talking to Reverend Mother, and she's like, oh, you didn't play the right side or whatever. And she's like, it's nothing about sides. It has to do with, and then she's like, shut up. And it's just amazing. Like these women to be like catty, chatty
Well,
Cathy's
and they're
versus
the ones pulling all the strings. I love
yes,
that. Yeah.
behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And it's not about brute force. It's about playing
As
your
mom would say,
cards.
she's not. She may not be the head, but she's the neck. She controls which way the head
That's
faces.
right.
Yeah, it turns the head, yeah, any direction she wants. Yeah. But I enjoy that aspect because one, is believable in this universe, but I also just like that there's other forces at work that are so far beyond, like you said, brute strength. And hence Timothy Chalamet. One, I like that his name is Paul. So if you think about like the 12 disciples, Paul was the one that was always like advocating for Christ, right? So what's interesting is uh Rebecca Ferguson's Jessica, she is now has a child, Oscar Isaac's daughter, and apparently she's kind of like going to be a representation of Mary, because I believe it's the son that Anya Taylor-Joy's character conceives is going to be the king, right? At least someone explained it to me that way. I don't remember if I heard this right. Timothy Chalamet, just as the name suggests, Paul. I mean, think about it. Every single name in this series, in this show, like none of it like is anything I can relate to other than Paul. Like that's a very Christian-based name, right? But he is not, I don't think he's the chosen one. I think it's literally going to be revealed that Anya Taylor-Joy's son that she bears in the future.
Well, based on the witches, they said that they made it all up anyways. So the whole idea is just so that
True,
they can control
true,
everything.
true. But if you think about Timothy Chalamet's character, he Paul keeps saying like he kept shunting all this responsibility. But even as Cameron mentioned, his conversation with his father, where he's like, good men like are called upon to be kings, right? It's not something that you seek for, and then you rise to the occasion. And if you're not ready for that, like I'll still love you as long as you're my son, right? Good dad. And then it's revealed for Christopher Walken, your father was weak. Wish I could do a better Christopher Walken. He's like, your dad is weak. I don't know. Anyway, it's great. But so the Emperor, evil guy, right? And so all this dissension, all the religious, I mean, there's so many like obviously symbolism, like literally planted from Rebecca and the Reverend Mothers. They're like planting seeds amongst all the Sand People. What are they called? I can't remember I'm
Sand
just
People.
blanked on
Tuscan Raiders.
the Tuscan Raiders, yeah, but the Stilgar's people, they're all in the search for some Messiah, right? And no matter what trial of faith Javier goes through, Stilgar's character, he like will still believe, right?
Yeah.
And I love the quote where he's like, Rebecca Ferguson says, like, you oh no, it was Florence Pugh to the Emperor, because he goes, you put so much stock in this desert power,
The Fremen.
the Fremen, thank you. So you put so much faith in these Fremen people, and he's like, you just killed their Messiah. And he goes, no, that'll just make him a martyr. And he's like, you underestimate this guy. And she's like, you underestimate faith, which is so cool because again, whether or not they believe in something, that's even true, it's like Timothy, Paul's character is ultimately leading them to deliverance from the emperor and the evil. What does Daybug keep
Anyone
people?
that's mining for spice.
Anyone that's mining for spice, right? Like liberation, and even like maybe the promise of getting out of this desert planet. It doesn't seem like anyone that wants to remain there, right? Like even Johnny, played by Zendaya, like I get the feeling that she doesn't like that planet, and she sounds so pissy. She's just like, I don't even like it here. And they just gossip and they talk about Paul, and Paul proves him wrong. He freaking anyway. I just like all that religious symbolism. And then if I could say a third thing, riding that worm was like the coolest thing. I mean, like it felt like a moment in Point Break where he's just riding the wave. He finally learns how to surf. Like it's that moment. And then they're like, not a worm so big. And you just get the sense you're like of dread, and you're like, oh my gosh. And he's running on the dune, and then the freaking sand falls out from under him. And he's like flipping head over heels on this worm. He finally catches it, and then he like stands up, and you're like, yes, yes. Like
I
I love.
loved in your review. I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, how on earth do they get off that thing?
And how do they dismount? Yes, they don't show that, and that's probably for the best.
Everybody's like, quick, jump up!
Writing, and you just like roll off. Yeah.
Okay, well, I also don't understand how the worm, like, how do they communicate to the worm that they need to go a certain direction?
Those little air holes, they hold it with hooks, and I think the going logic is if you keep those air holes open, they won't go in.
They won't go in the sand because it'll get in. Yeah, the sand will
the
get
sand
in.
will get in their little nostril.
That's a show don't tell. That's what we're basing it on,
Cameron.
They didn't explain that, but that's what
Cameron.
That's
you were a little too dumb to catch this subtlety.
No,
but I agree. And then I think they just kind of steer it like by pulling harder.
Yeah,
on
pulling
one,
and then it kind of like leans.
Well, I also because like I just didn't understand. Like it seemed like I'm like, how did they get Paul's mom on there with like the chariot?
Yeah.
Like did those guys just run and then jump like all four of them? Like,
they just attack a hook. It would be so great. They just attack a hook on one side, and you just see the rope just like. Just like
and see her launch back, whiplash her.
Just roller coaster style. It's like those theme park ones that it's like the
so funny. Yeah, just like whiplashes her across. Oh my gosh, I love it. Or maybe like
they need to do an like an extended edition with those scenes.
I know, right? And in getting off, I could see if maybe they halt the worm, they pull back on the reins, they can get it to like slow down enough where they could then dismount. But again, it's like you don't want to get in front of it. Obviously, that gaping hole just swallows everything. Those things are crazy. But anyway, and that was part of the narrative where the first one promises, like you get a little taste of it, a teaser of it, and this movie delivered. The worm riding was just such a cool moment. Like again, I've mentioned movies like surf movies, yeah, like whatever. Ride the
Well,
big
I
wheel.
thought of Avatar a little bit, like they ride those
Yeah,
creature
riding.
things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But this one beats Avatars, to be
Oh
honest.
yeah.
Because I remember, although like I do remember being impressed when I first saw it, but like this one, I'm still gloating about because I'm like, Riding a Samurai was just so well done. The way they stage it, right? Like Stilgar is like never shaking in faith, but then when he sees how big the worm is, he's like, "Oh no!" Like it was too big. He's like, "Paul, come back!" I just love it. There was so much tension building up, and you've seen how massive and scaled these things are, and it just seems like such an impossible task. But the fact that Paul was like so fearless, and he is on the dune all alone, like anyway, there's just a lot of imagery and symbolism I'd mentioned before, but you know,
And I was really
so
worried
cool.
that the war was just going to be like a big CGI monstrosity, but luckily they kept it tight and they stuck with like certain characters, which I felt like was such a good choice. I was so worried. I'm like, oh no, is this going to turn into like a Marvel, like where I'm just like bunch of CGI garbage? But it was like just
Oh yeah, and or even anticlimactic. Like, let's be honest, Dave Bautista, he gets his whips out, and Josh Brolin just like murks him. I was like, oh, like I thought he'd have like put up more of a fight than that, because obviously he was running and he was a coward. But I thought to fight for his life, he gets out his whip and he's like, yeah, and then Josh Brolin just like takes him down like instantly, and I was like, holy crap! Like anyway, gosh, guys,
well, because they're saving up for the best fight of all, which
yeah,
um
so like I said, I think what do they say? In every movie, you need like at least three water cooler moments. Yeah, you got the worm riding, you've got the politics at play here, and you've got the freaking knife fight at the end between Paul and
well,
Faith.
and building that character up
Sick.
early on though, I loved the gladiator fight. Like that was
Yeah,
one of
it
my
does a good job at
favorite
yeah
scenes.
demonstrating his power,
Yeah.
how psychotic he is.
Oh my
He
gosh.
gets
He's
put
just
through
like
the
slicing all
boxhouse,
those
dude.
chicks inside his room and he's just like, feed.
Okay,
Dude,
you
he was
might have
so
to edit this out the podcast, but it made me laugh so hard. So someone left a review and was like, dude, that freaking Austin Butler Fade character, you know he put his freaking in the box.
in the what?
In the box rather than put his hand in to see if he could stand the pain. He stick his freaking I made me die. I
Ah,
was laughing so hard. I was like, dude,
Wow.
I bet that guy
he
freaking stuck his
probably
in
would.
there. Yeah, it's like
Ah.
put your hand in the box and you just put his freaking in there. Anyway, that made me laugh
Uh,
so hard. Anyway, um, yeah, so yeah, the knife fight it's good, right? I love people's reviews, dude.
uh,
Reading reviews is like my favorite pastime for this movie. And other people are like, dude, I'm ready to go freaking worship and go to war for Paul, dude. Like
oh
he
yeah.
long live the king. And it's funny because like propaganda does a really good job. I liked how Rebecca was planting these seeds, or I should say Jessica, she was planting these seeds. And I even
Well,
liked her character evolving where she didn't even know she was pregnant until she took the worm juice. And she's like, I barely understood that I'm pregnant.
well, I love the
You get
because talking about
her
the worm
mind and like,
juice, like seeing history and then learning
yeah,
from that. Because she's like, you'll know your outcome if you learn from history, which is totally why history is so important and why we shouldn't be erasing things from history books because it's like we can learn from that.
right. Yeah,
So
expand
it's
your mind, right? And experience like a greater knowledge, like a lived wisdom, right? Because like you
well,
could be learning in books, but there's something about like wisdom or being wise, right? Like Yoda, you have a lot of experience,
well,
and I
and
think
it's the
that's what,
reason our
yeah.
smartphones and this AI stuff can anticipate your needs is because it learns from other people's history. And it's like, no, but that's seriously what it does. It just takes knowledge
I
of
know.
history and then
So
it
AI will keep learning from history, and we will just get dumber. That's a good thing.
we're all
Danny
gonna end up
Villeneuve will
like
direct that movie.
Skarsgård.
That's right.
It's just fed through tubes.
I know, dude. He's great, in this movie. Oh, yeah, and then
Yeah.
it's too bad that our David Desmelchian, he died in the first one, right? In the poison pill or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So I would have liked to see a cameo from him again, but I
I
guess he
know.
died. I know, I forgot he died. I guess he couldn't shoot up to the ceiling.
Suck through that vent. Yeah.
How did they get him down from there, dude? Oh my gosh, freaking love it, dude. Anyway, yeah. So, gosh, there's so much to enjoy about this movie, and you're right about recency bias, but like, what a star-studded cast: Timothy Chalamet,
Mhm.
Rebecca Ferguson, Josh Brolin, Florence
Every time
Pugh,
somebody showed up, I'm like, what?
Javier Bardem. Yeah, even like I only and Stellan Skarsgård. Gotta mention him. I love him from
Dude, and
Chernobyl.
seeing Annie Taylor-Joy just got me that much more excited for the next Furiosa. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, yeah, I am excited. I'm kind of worried about that one, but I'm like, it's still directed by George Miller, and it's still gonna be fun.
Yeah, I just hope I hope it doesn't turn out like Thunderdome.
Yeah, or even like any sort of messaging. I'm like, I really just want to watch a high octane car tape. Like, I do not need any messaging for my freaking steampunk. Like, anyway, it
Yeah,
already
I'm really
feels a little bit like that with like Anya Taylor-Joy's story, and it has nothing to do with Mad Max. And I'm like, but again, I digress. I'm willing to give it a shot. So,
yeah.
but anyway,
I'm
this
hoping
movie's
it'll be
acting
like
was
Thunder
super.
Road where Mel Gibson said like what 14 words in the whole movie.
Yeah, but even then, like you could still play a pivotal role without even saying much, right? Like his presence on screen or whatever was felt, and the stunts that he did and all that stuff. Like his character was definitely working in the movie, and now it's like, anyway, willing to give it a chance. I love the cast of this movie, and I love Denis' direction. I think this was an amazing sequel that I actually enjoyed more than the first. This reminds me of Lord of the Rings, where I largely like the Two Towers, and I think this will age well. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I actually enjoyed this one, but like I think more Ryan has convinced me. I definitely like the first one, Fellowship, more than I like Two Towers these days. I used to like
Yeah,
Twin Towers more because Battle of Helm's Deep was just so cool.
yeah.
But it's like it's really like the characters, like Boromir, like there's so much more weight there. And this movie, I feel like there's definitely more weight in this movie than there was in the
The
first one.
part
Yes,
I
world
agree.
building.
World
So
building in
so
first,
I do feel
characters
like
in
this
second.
is a much better film, and it's crazy because you watch the IMDb 8 stars for the first one. There's 9 stars for this one, and it's just like it's crazy out of 10. And you're like, yeah, like this movie definitely feels more complete, even though they've teased enough where I'm like, I'm strapping in for the next one, dude. Like it sounds great. Can't wait to see a third
Well,
installment of this
even
movie.
Letterboxd says like the average is the majority of the votes are all on 5-star compared to the
Like
first one is all on 4-star. So
four. Yeah, and I think a lot of people might have thought like me, I was like, I feel like I'm excited to see where it goes because I feel like there's a lot of world building that they've done. Like, dude, for the first time, I was like giddy for Halloween. I'm like, dude, I want to get a freaking black nose tube and dress in a cloak and wear tattered clothes. I want to freaking grow my hair out and be a freaking Dune character for Halloween, dude. Freaking looks
oh, I thought you were gonna
awesome.
say buzz your head. And shave
Yeah,
off your
shave my
eyebrows.
eyebrows. I know,
You
dude.
should have done that for the pod.
I'm gonna get the belly suit. I'm gonna become a freaking Bogman, whatever his freaking name is. I'm gonna become the Baron.
You totally should have done that for the pod, Ty. I just showed up like bald.
Shaved eyebrows. Oh my gosh, I love it. Anyway, guys, would you recommend this movie?
Oh, 1000%.
Definitely go see
100%.
it. I'm gonna go watch it in theaters again, and this time in IMAX.
If you enjoyed the first one, you have to watch this one.
I
Well,
agree.
and
Or
even if you
even if
didn't like the first one, or you
you'll
can
like
even
this one
skip the
better.
first one and just watch this one.
No,
You
don't skip the
cannot skip
first
the
one. Yeah,
I
first
think
one.
you
can't skip the
could.
first one.
I don't
You
I'll
know.
be
cannot. You
honest.
will not understand what is going on.
I know.
That's all
Like
right. It's kind of like the thing. It's being like thrown into part. I mean, the beginning starts halfway through the story. Remember, there's a dog running and the guy's like, they're shooting it from a helicopter. Like, you don't know what's going on.
So are you referring to like the fact that because they ended up making a prequel that somehow that the movie was made before they had a prequel?
Well,
That was like,
that's what I'm saying.
oh,
I don't think there's like a ton that you need from the first. Like,
I disagree. I think it's good to establish the relationship between the boy and his mom because I
Ryan's
think
a
that's going
hater
to
of the
play
first one.
that. Okay, so here's prediction. We have to make predictions real quick because I haven't read the book, so I'm allowed to do this. Have you? Neither of you read the book, right? Okay. So our listeners, this is a complete guess, but my guess is he keeps having visions, and it's finally revealed that it is his mother that's leading the way. I think Jessica literally is going to be like, Paul, you need to rise to the occasion. You need to seize power in this moment. And Paul's not that kind of person. He's not
so
corruptible.
she'll
He's
be
like a
the
very
queen or
good
something.
person. Well, I think yeah, she's gonna try to like convince him to do bad. like rule evilly or whatever, right? And so that's where a lot of the emotional weight's going to come from, is the clash between him and his mother. Because let's be honest, their relationship has been like fraying, I think, all of this, because she is like, in the
She
end,
seems kind of cuckoo. I'm not gonna lie.
she
Her,
is like
talking to
she
her
is.
baby, she was like, I'm like, okay, you crazy.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I think she's going to play a very interesting character, and I'd like to see their relationship being frayed, because ultimately, they got rid of the big bad, and obviously you could introduce new characters that way as far as like prowess, but like honestly, like you said, the movie felt contained. Keep the drama tight with the characters that you care about. Like even the war, they followed Johnny, played by Zendaya, which I was like, yeah, yeah, follow her story, follow the riding the worms, follow like the three different aspects. But you don't need much time. Like watching them ride up with worms, eating everyone, it's freaking cool. Like you only need a few seconds of that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing with Avengers, like 40 minutes of punching, I really do not care.
Oh yeah, me too. I
care
check
more
out.
about I care more about the politics. Like I like people talking and arguing. And yes, Danny Villeneuve, like you said, the knife fight was so successful and so exciting, even though it was so brief, but it was like you knew what was at stake. There was so much
Yeah.
writing on this,
Yeah.
and you cared about your character, and you genuinely
Yes.
felt anticipate and frightened. I was literally like at the edge of my seat. I was like, oh, like I was like almost sweating when they're exchanging blows over knife blades. Like it's crazy. And it does this freaking kick spin flip. It was
Yeah.
so cool, dude. Come on. Like flips through the air. I was like, that was awesome. Like, anyway, I fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. This movie's great. I probably have recency bias, but I'm gonna go watch it again. The costumes are great. The special
I
effects are
thought
great. I'm gonna rock this movie, except
the
for
dr-
Zendaya. That's my biggest nitpick, and she still bothers me. So I have to say
I
that.
thought the Drax character kind of turned into Drax in the moment where he starts smashing the guy's face against the
Yeah, let's not forget, if you say anything to Fade or to Beast, like either one of them are just gonna kill you. Like, why would you even like sit? You're like, but Saya, we can't do that. And get your throat cut. And then he's like, feed them to my wenches. They're hungry. They haven't fed in a while. It's like, oh my gosh.
Those chicks were creepy, dude.
I
Oh man.
know.
They're
Little sharp
insane.
teeth. Oh, I know. That whole thing is great. I love it. Amazing. And I just feel so bad for the actress that had to pretend that she had consummated with Fade's character and is gonna bear his son. Like it's gonna come out bald and no eyebrows. It's freaking
It's gonna
disgusting.
claw its way out. Freaking psycho baby.
Yeah. Oh, and then like another great thing too with like is like one of the prisoners wasn't drugged. Sorry, there's just one last thing I had to mention. When the gladiator fight was going on, he
Oh,
kills the
that
other
was great.
very easily,
Yeah.
but I don't know if he was from Atreides or whatever, or he was from Arrakis or wherever he was from, right? He was a human being. And he goes to fight him. He's like, he hasn't been drugged. And he's like, you're welcome, nephew. Like, now you're a
I
star.
love that
People,
moment.
I know. And I'm like, I love this. Like, because he was also proving, because he's like, if he would have been killed,
Well,
there's
he even
obviously
turned
greater
off
risk.
his little like shield thing
I
to
know.
make it a
Yes.
more fair fight. Like I love that.
Yes. And again, all these are such great character moments that show and don't tell. So Denis Villeneuve, nice work. My hat off to you, sir. I would give it a perfect score, but maybe let Johnny be played by, I don't know, Maggie Gyllenhaal.
It's Chani with
Johnny.
CH.
No, I think they say Johnny in the movie. I heard the word
It's
It
Johnny.
sounds like
Johnny.
Johnny.
They sound like
It
Johnny.
does.
I know
I
it's
thought it was
spelled
Johnny
Johnny.
as well, but it is Chani with a CH.
I
Okay,
want to be
well,
called
Javier
Johnny.
Bardem says Johnny's great or something. He says something about Johnny. And all I can think of is that child movie. My kids would love this. Nobody talks to Johnny. He's different, you see, different from you and me. Sorry, just had to do that. Nobody talks to Johnny, and honestly, neither should Denis Villeneuve. They should fire Zendaya, get some other actress in there. Maybe Anya Taylor-Joy could play two characters. She could play the rest of Zendaya's character and play the Jessica's newborn baby. So, guys, it's great. A lot of parallels
So
between
good.
this and The King. A lot of parallels to religious symbolism and all that stuff. I'm gonna have to make my own movie about that. I'll post on YouTube. Just be like, here's all the religious symbolism found in Dune Part 2. Anyway, I'll never have the time to do that. Guys, thanks for letting me gush about this movie. I love you guys. What have you seen lately, and what movies are you looking forward to? So I've only seen one movie. I watched Outlaws with Adam Devine and Pierce
Oh, I saw your
Brosnan.
review. You're like, I
I
already
mean,
forgot the movie.
yeah, it's so forgettable. But I like Adam Devine. I love
I did too.
Workaholics and that crew. They just always make me laugh. It's a silly movie where it's like your in-laws, there's always that uncomfortable whatever, and they're like bank robbers. So
Oh.
there's that funny thing where it's like, I don't like my in-laws, but they also rob banks and
If you like Adam
really
Devine,
funny.
you should watch Jexy. It's where his
Oh,
smart car like tries to kill him. It's pretty funny.
yeah, I saw that. Right, yeah, that
Oh,
does
you
look
did
good.
see it?
No, no, sorry, I
Oh,
saw the trailer for that.
okay.
I should watch it though. I like
It's
everything that
just
Anna Devine
like you
does.
said, it's pretty forgettable, but I
Yeah.
enjoyed a few funny
I
moments.
Adam Devine just like he's got like no shame. He just goes for it, you know? And I love
Yeah.
it. He's not afraid to mock himself. Like, because I loved his movie that he did. What was it? Was it the Die Hard mock movie? What was that? Like
Oh, I watched that one too. Yeah.
very funny. Like freaking hilarious.
Had
Shaggy
a
at gunpoint or whatever.
yeah, had
I
a
can't
few
remember
funny
what's
moments.
it was funny. Anyway, those
It's
guys are
silly.
great. But yeah, that's pretty much all I've seen. I've been thinking about Dune too, like nonstop. So what about you, Cameron? What have you been watching lately?
Yeah, I haven't seen too many things. I just watched. I
I
finally
love when Cameron
finished.
says that and then he reads
It's
like
like
10
here's a list of
movies.
only 10
Yeah,
movies I
it's
got
only
to.
10. Usually I do 100, you know.
Yeah.
So I watched a lot of season 3 of Legends of Korra, which is pretty good. It's much better than season 2. Well, not much better, but better than season 2. And then I finished Blood Diamond, which it's there's like multiple movies inside that one movie. Um, but it's pretty enjoyable. And like great performances all around. I struggled a little bit at the beginning to get over Leo's accent, but then I'm like, once I learned his background, I'm like, okay, he's like from Africa,
What do
but
you
like a
do?
different. Yeah, his accent was just a little weird, but
Yeah.
um, and I enjoyed it. And then gave it a 7 out of 10. And then I watched Dune 1, obviously. Even better in the second viewing is 9 out of 10 for me. Jordan's high. It's literally like it reminds me a lot of like Blade Runner 2049, just kind of with like a lot of the Jordan's gonna disagree, but I mean it's just because it's Denny and Hans Zimmer, so like you can't really go wrong
Except
unless you're, unless you're uncultured like Jordan, then you can go wrong. And then I watched Denny's first film, August 32nd from Earth. I don't know. Like it was really fun to see kind of how far he's come. Um and like I can see a lot of the aspects of his first film in like his later work. Um
he's gotten a lot more
I mean,
patient over the years. In the past, his a lot more quick pans. It's like a different
yeah.
style.
Yeah, and I like he still does some great cinematography and great like wide shots and like visual storytelling. He's pretty good at that.
But so there was a few
And
moments I'm like, ooh, this is a really interesting story. It's like, no, we're not gonna spend any time on that. And I'm like, no, are you kidding me?
yeah,
Like
I know.
they it
I
goes to
wish the
Utah,
taxi
Ty,
driver would have
and
been
yeah, the
would have
taxi
been in.
driver is psychopath. And they go to Utah because they're from Canada, and then they find a dead body, and I'm like, oh heck yes. And then it was like, no, we're not gonna spend any time on that. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and then also they're like they asked a taxi driver to drive him out to the salt flats, and then he drives him out to the salt flats and like, can you pick us up in an hour? And then he comes back an hour later, or like
Three
3 hours
hours.
later.
Yeah.
They're like, we said an hour, and he's like, it's been an hour, and they're like, it's been three, and he was like, well, and now it's gonna be $400 to take you
Instead of
back,
200.
and they're like, yeah, and they're like, what? No, I already gave you 100, and I'll give you the 100 later, and they're like, he's like, no, it's 400 now, and then they're like, no, and so then he
Just
um like yeah,
leaves
he's
him
like
in the
driving back and
desert.
forth trying to get away from him. And then they're like on in the front and the back of the car, and then she like runs around to the driver's door, like banging on it. She's like, oh, she's like, stop. And then he's like swings the door open and hits her in the face, and she falls to the ground and he drives away. I was like, what the fudge? But yeah, I don't know. It was
Dang.
like there was parts that I thought was really good. The overall concept was just kind of weird. I'm like, maybe this is normal in Quebec, but I'm like, this is very interesting. The entire plot is just this girl has a near death experience tied in a car crash. It's very similar to Maelstrom if you've seen that. And then she like after having that, she like
Decide she
feels
wants a
like, oh,
baby.
I could die at any moment. So she's like, I need to bring a person into this world. I'm like, what? That's what makes you want to bring a child into this world? And then so she like asks her best friend who has a girlfriend to like,
Yeah.
and then he like makes the joke that I would only at the desert. And then she's like, okay, we're buying a ticket. And so then it's like, but then like nothing happens. I don't know. For me, it was a 6 out of 10. There's aspects of it that were really cool. Like as a film, I thought really enjoyable. Not a very enjoyable movie. I was really struggling to like they were super sleepy in the movie and I was getting super sleepy. I was like, but I powered through. I was
I
glad I
think
was
that
able to
movie,
finish this. Now,
Invasion with Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig, where the whole movie they're fighting to stay awake, and I'm like, I feel your pain, sister. Like, you
I still
barely
enjoy that
stop
movie.
snoozing.
Like I
No,
know
you do not.
I do. I
No,
saw it twice. I
no.
like it.
Invasion of the Body Snatchers is a great movie. Invasion only, that movie sucked. Like
Daniel
I
Craig
watched
was
Invasion of the
great.
Body. No, Invasion of the Body Snatchers was freaking what's his name? The Sutherland guy, the
Yeah,
70s film. Freaking awesome. That movie
both
rocked.
great.
Stop. No, you're putting words in my mouth. Freaking Invasion sucked, dude.
I liked it.
No, you didn't. You
I
did not
did.
like.
just looking forward to finishing Korra, and then also I'm interested in Burning Love because you and Grant keep talking about it, but I don't know if I'll get around to watching it. Also,
the first season.
Jake recommended to me the samurai TV show
Ooh,
Shogun.
Shogun.
That's
I
like
want to see that.
crazy good.
Looks good.
So yeah, he was
Cameron.
saying
So they're only 20-minute episodes and there's only like 8, so it's like 2 hours for the whole first season. Season 2 is garbage. So just if you wanted to watch not Shogun, but the other one we were talking about, Burning Love.
yeah, Burning Love.
So
okay.
it's basically a movie, the whole series.
2 hours.
Or half of Killers of the Flower Moon.
That's true.
Still not half, yeah. Well, it's funny because
Wait.
I hear people say like, I don't know who complains about Oppenheimer, but I'm like, that movie flew by.
Just
Killers of the Flower Moon was like, I was like being raked across hot coals. It's just, you know, they say time is
No, it was
relative. If
good.
you're looking at a
That-
beautiful woman on a park bench, hours fly by. But if you're put your hand on a hot stove, I don't know what that was. I think it was Albert Einstein talked about the time relativity. Anyway,
Speaking of Einstein and Daniel Craig, I rewatched The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo again. I freaking love it, dude.
Wait,
You
It's
need
so good.
help.
Einstein.
Dude,
What
it
is-
just keeps moving up my top 100 list even higher. It's so good. And then the second, if you skip those scenes, the really messed up scenes,
Are
it's
they like part of the story? It's like
no, you don't
amazing.
have to watch them. And then second thing, Oppenheimer, amazing. I watched it again. It's in my top 100.
Yeah, I really think it has to be
The
there because I watched it
masterpiece.
again too, and I was like, this
It,
flies
it
by. Like
has
I've never
it
watched a 3 hour movie that
felt
just
like seconds. And then
it's
it
crazy.
not only that, it's like, I mean, it has everybody I like in it. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this person too, and I love his performance. Just so many good actors. Oh, and the
Great.
music is phenomenal. So
Dude,
as Ty used to use all the time.
but
giving
I
you
know I
feedback.
used this phenomenal. Dude,
Everybody
I'm looking
knows.
forward to
Oh,
Spaceman. Okay, real quick. This
yeah.
movie is directed by the guy that did Chernobyl. Yeah, turning your heads yet? Stars Adam Sandler. His wife is Carrie Mulligan, who I could take it or leave it. But anyway, he's in space, and again, this is only from like the first second of the teaser, and there's a giant spider that's like there to help him. Like I don't know how it looks like the movie Enemy meets like I don't know, like what's the Moon with Sam Rockwell. That's what it looks like. Movie Moon with Enemy, because and I say Enemy only because it looks
Just
like
based
it's
on what
a
you've seen,
giant spider.
I'm like I'm
Yeah,
very hesitant to believe it's as good as those two movies, but
it's out of I don't know. Let me see what the Rotten Tomatoes is for
yeah,
Space.
if it's
But
really
check it
that
out.
good, then I'm definitely gonna check it out. But
Okay,
if
okay.
it's anything like
I
his
gotta see this.
Ridiculous Six or any of his other garbage,
That is so great. This movie's
net
just like a total dumpster
he
fire.
has so many garbage Netflix
It's like
movies.
it's got 50 for critics. It's got 66 from audience, which I find weird because this movie
Still
is
pretty low.
weird looking. Okay, but if it stars Adam Sandler and more audience members like it than critics,
I'm just
actually
excited
kind
for
of
you to
intrigued
finally
to
watch it,
it.
then be like, it sucked.
The movie's weird, dude. Anyway, I'm gonna
Oh,
watch
jeez.
it because I like. Oh, and then the other one was Hustler. There's 2 Adam Sandler movies I want to watch,
I do
and
want to
there's
watch
2
Hustler.
Nicolas Cage movies I want to watch.
Cameron liked that one.
So I want to watch Hustler. That looks really, really good. And it's got 94% on Rotten Tomatoes or something like that for both critics, and then audience is like 96%. Like everyone liked it.
You said it was like Air, right, Cameron?
Kind of like Air, yeah. He's like a talent
Which
scout.
Hustler is so good.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it.
I love basketball, so you have to take that into account.
No, but
and
I don't even think you have to be a basketball lover. I honestly don't think
the
you
reason
have to.
the reason I also did
I like
enjoy it,
Moneyball and I hate baseball.
the reason
Moneyball's
the
an
reason I
amazing movie.
also enjoyed it is almost every single basketball player in the movie is an NBA player.
Well, I wouldn't care about that, but I am interested to see Adam Sandler playing a dramatic.
So that's
role
what
because I
like
think he's a
all the
great actor.
basketball scenes, it's actually real people playing basketball, which I was like blessed because normally it's like these cheesy like cutaway scenes where it's like I chuck up a ball.
What about
And I'm like,
Uncut Gems,
there's
Cameron?
no way that shot went in.
Did you watch Uncut Gems, right?
We've reviewed it, yeah.
Yes,
I know, but did
Kevin
you care for the
Garnett.
basketball in that movie? Was that good? Was that good basketball?
Well, I mean, it's Kevin Garnett, so yeah.
Yeah, it's good basketball, dude. That's the only basketball game I've ever
Is that
cared
good
about in a
basketball?
movie. Yeah, yeah, I know.
Like
I'm asking because I'm
it's
like,
like
I
4
care
minutes
deeply
of
about
that
that movie.
stress ball piece of garbage. So yeah, it was the best 4 minutes of that piece of garbage.
So there's two Adam
He's
Sandler
a
movies,
master.
right? Spaceman, and then what was the other Adam? Oh, and Hustler, and then two Nick Cage movies. I'm finally gonna watch Dream Scenario. Want to watch that? Did that on my bucket list forever. And then I want to watch the was it My Evening with the Devil or whatever?
Oh, sympathy for Mr.
The Sympathy for the Devil or something like
Yeah,
that.
that was
Gonna
a
watch
fun one.
those. Yeah, so I'm gonna watch four of those movies, two Adam Sandler, two Nick Cage. Following actors a little bit now, only because I think they're like auteur actors in their own right. Nick Cage, of course, but Adam Sandler, especially when he's not directing and he's just contractually obligated to make a Happy Madison movie, like when he like works with another director and it's like a character movie. Adam Sandler's got some acting chops.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's done that what 3 times? Punch Drunk Love,
All you have to,
Airwitz,
if you
and
can do two or three movies, you're like on my. I'm like,
oh
maybe
no, he
like,
is. He's in my top
yeah.
100 or top 10 favorite actors. But I'm just saying, like,
What?
but
Wait,
then
you mean to tell me Adam Sandler's in your top 10? Was he
I'm pretty
really?
sure I don't remember anymore. I have
I
to check.
doubt it. I don't think any of us put
Yeah,
Adam
he was. He
Sandler in top
was
10.
because of those 3 movies I just mentioned. Punch Drunk Love is like one of my favorite movies ever.
No, I know that, but okay, so Adam Sandler is in what other two movies?
Meyerowitz Stories and
Meyerowitz
Uncut
Stories.
Gems.
Yeah, Meyerowitz Stories was a good one, and Uncut Gems was good. See, again, he had nothing to do with the directing there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, but all his Netflix movies are trash.
All of his
I haven't
Happy
seen
Madison
Hustler. I
movies are
haven't seen
trash.
Hustler. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah, I got
So
movies to watch. Two Nick Cage, two Adam Sandler.
now we are going to be ranking Denny's films. Oh, I'm young.
Should I write down the order because I can't remember the movies, or you?
I'll just say the movie. You guys just tell me where
Oh,
to
thank you,
rank
because I
it.
don't know how to pronounce some of his films.
Stop. His very first film that he ever made, August 32nd on Earth. Cameron, where would you rank that?
It's, in my opinion, his worst film. It's still a 6 out of 10, but it's in C tier for me. It's
It
the
would have done
only
much better if
See?
it was named 30 Seconds to Mars, starring the actor of a generation, Jared Leto. He should have been in Dune Part 2.
All right, his second film, Cameron, Maelstrom.
It's second on my B tier.
Nothing else to say about it, huh?
I mean, it's literally just a worse version of Enemy. If you like
It's Enemy with
Maelstrom,
Fishes.
it's Enemy with fishes and with smaller budget and less well done.
I might disagree with you there. And then Polytechnique.
Polytechnique is B tier as well. It's the one right above it. It's kind of funny. It's almost like his movies are almost like chronologically in order of just continually getting better.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I like that. On Sunday.
For me, that's my third movie in A tier. It's insane. It's one of the most like difficult movies to watch. It's not just your casual, just like viewing. It's so grueling and traumatizing, but it's amazing. It's a 9 out of 10 for
And
me.
Blink, yeah. Okay, Cameron.
Oh, and
Prisoner.
Maelstrom is a
Oh.
7 out of 10 for me, and then Polytechnique is between like 7 and 8, probably 8.
Wait, are you giving it two ratings? We just need if it's an A.
I'm
or
just
is
saying what it is for
A,
me.
B?
I'm just saying what it is for me.
He's
We
like,
can-
I give it an A tier, and that means 8 out of 10. What's the currency?
However you want to rank it, that's fine. Prisoners.
I mean, come on. This is easily, in my opinion, his best movie ever. It's S tier.
His best movie. Oh, interesting.
Enemy.
Enemy for me is S tier as well, but it's the lowest of the S tier.
S tier. Wow, actually, I'm surprised by that one. Sicario.
Literally,
Let me guess. S.
S tier as well, but it's above Enemy but below Prisoners.
Arrival.
Arrival's A tier for me, but it's above Incende, or however you say it, Incendies.
I think it's pronounced on Sunday, but I always say Incendies because
On any given Sunday. Hurrah!
Blade Runner 2049.
For me, that's his second best film he's ever made. It's S tier. It's above Sicario but below Prisoners.
Oh,
Just barely above and just barely below Prisoners. Because Prisoners, Blade Runner 2049, Sicario are all three in my top 10. So it's like
Dune
Do you
Part
just
1.
have like a male
Oh.
crush on like Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Gosling? Is that what this
Yeah.
is? This is less to do with the directing.
Yeah, Cameron's obsessed with Jake. Dune Part 1, Cameron.
Dune Part 1 is the lowest for me on the A tier, but it's still A tier.
All right.
But it's below Incendies.
Dune Part 2, Cameron.
It's the highest on the A tier, but still A tier. It's not S tier.
That's crazy. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Nice, solid list. He cruised through that. I have to make caveats sometimes. Cameron's like, this is where it belongs.
It's because it's the truth.
All right,
That's the truth.
let's pull up.
No, see,
ties.
like for me, any of the ones in any of the tiers can kind of be somewhat interchangeable. Like, but because I mean, like I mentioned, the first three on my
Oh,
S tier are in my top 10. So
shoot.
like they're like it's 5, 6, and then Sicario's I think
I
8 or 9.
and I forgot a bonus. Where would you put Next Floor?
I mean, it's been 7 years since I've seen it, but from what I remember, probably B tier, B or C.
You have to
I don't
watch it
remember.
again. It's really good. It's more interpretive, and I mean, it falls. I feel like more towards Enemy than it does his other films.
Interesting.
Yeah, falls.
Yeah, it's literally El Hoyo.
Yeah, it is. That's when you
Well,
say that.
dude, you stole it. That's what I was gonna say. I was like, I honestly confused this movie with Platform because I literally watched Next Floor like and Platform in the same weekend. I was like, dude, what's going on? Everyone's just
Yeah.
obsessed with like the holes in the floor, man. There's a book out there of a kid jumping on his bed and his bed breaks through the floor and it keeps falling through the floors. Have you guys read that book? It's a cute child. It's like, don't jump on the bed, otherwise. And then he literally cracks through the floor, and his bed and the kid go toppling through the floor beneath. And then like it just keeps like
Going.
the one beneath him is like a guy painting, and so now his paints and everything go below. It's just really funny, and it's a
You
child's book, and that's what Next Floor makes me think of. But
and
anyway,
the Maelstrom.
so Maelstrom, I honestly know I started it. I never finished
Oh, you
it.
never
So
Okay, we'll skip
yeah,
that
so
one.
I don't even think it's
Uh,
fair to give it a rating. Did start it,
Polytechnique.
like watch 10, 15 minutes of it. Polytechnique is good. I'd give it like it's hard though because like would I ever go back and watch it? I'd give it a B, which sounds mean. Just like I mean, it's a good movie. I just
Yeah, I don't think I'll ever rewatch it, but
yeah. The
it's
same thing
good.
goes for Incendies. That's like with half of his films.
Yeah. All
And I was
right,
just
so
thinking because you're gonna ask me Incendies next, right?
yeah, on Sunday,
Oh
yeah.
freak! It's heart wrenching. That movie's so good though. Like, gosh, it fits in like that tier of movies that's like so bleak, and I'll give it a B as well because I do like feeling sad. I think sad movies like that do need to exist. I don't
Yeah.
want to watch it again,
Yeah.
and that factors into my rating anyway.
Well, you don't like sad movies as much as me and Cameron.
No, that well, I like stressful movies more, and
Yeah,
I don't mind a good sad movie if I don't know if I'm
except
invested. Like
Manchester by the Sea.
sometimes it's just sad for the sake of being sad, and that's not. It's like, what's the saddest movie I could direct? Right, that's Casey Affleck and Ben Affleck sitting in a room. What's the saddest thing? What a guy is responsible for his family's death, like because he went out to go get a smokes. Like, come on,
Oh my gosh. All right,
kid. Oh,
Prisoners.
Prisoners. Gosh, this movie's so good. I'd give that an S tier. I think it's a. I think like I want every detective movie to feel and be like the reveal like Prisoners, like
Yeah.
4 or 5 twists. You're trying to guess what's going on even to the very end, and even if you know the ending, you're like, I try to catch the subtle hints. I want every detective movie and serial killer movie to feel and look like Prisoners,
I
and to
thought
be
Rep
acted like
I thought
Prisoners.
Reptile did a pretty good job. I'm just
So that's a good movie, but see, like again,
I
this
know
is
it's
what
top
Saving
tier.
Private Ryan is for war films,
Yeah,
for police detective movies. Like anyway,
it's the best of the best.
yeah, Hugh
Shark.
Jackman being like the devoted father, Loki played by Gyllenhaal, so good, love it.
Enemy.
Enemy, I'll give it a B for the fact that I love the theories afterwards, but the fact that like I would never be able to even piece together what those movies about without the help of other people. To me, I'm like, is that even me like understanding film? It made me question whether or not I'm even qualified to speak about these
No,
things.
I'm surprised you have it so high. I thought you because man, you
No,
did
I
you,
can't knock it. Like I remember watching it and being thoroughly enthralled with it, but I do remember being like, I don't even get it. And then when I finally had it explained to me, I was like, okay, well, I like it, but like
I think I like
it's
it.
more fun to talk about than to watch,
I
and that's why I
can
give it a
get
B.
behind that. Sicario.
Oh my gosh, this is an S tier movie, and this is the craziest thing. Remember we talked about we mentioned Danny Villeneuve action, right? This movie doesn't have a lot of action, and in fact, a lot of it is implied action and implied the ambiguity. Oh my gosh. I want every movie moving forward. Like this is what I wanted Ozark to feel like. I want Breaking Bad to feel like this. I want every border movie and or Marines movie to feel like Sicario and have that weight. I'm just amazed that it had as low 7.7. What are you people? My gosh, what's the matter with you? This is a perfect film. S tier for me. Sicario.
Arrival.
Arrival's an A. I do like Arrival, and I need to watch it again. I've only seen this once in theaters, but it's one of those movies where I feel like I don't want to rewatch, and I don't know why that's a problem for me because I would sit down and watch Sicario Prisoners right now, like right now. But Arrival, I'm like, no,
Right
no,
now.
that's not the Denis Villeneuve movie we're watching tonight. I will watch Arrival, or like I will watch Sicario and or Prisoners 6 more times before I watch Arrival again.
Blade Runner 2049.
But a must see. Blade Runner 2049. I have a weird relationship to this movie because I remember watching it and it took me like 3 or 4 times to get through it because I kept falling asleep. There's not a lot of action in it, Cameron, despite what you might think. I give it an A. Give it an A. It's not a flawless film, but I like it.
Dune Part 1.
Dune Part 1, I'm gonna be honest, I'd say it's a B. I mean, like, I like it. I just feel like a lot of people are outraged because they're like, I can't believe they're doing two-parter. But honestly, it didn't bother me as much then. I do like it. It's very entertaining, but it does feel incohesive as one film on its own. Now,
It doesn't.
again,
It's not a standalone film.
yeah, it's not a standalone, and that's always going to take you down. But
Yeah.
which is crazy because my next one, I'm gonna recency bias. It's like the highest. You're gonna ask me Dune Part 2. I don't
Dune
want to
Part
say it's
2.
S tier. I'm gonna say A for now because again, for the reasons I mentioned, it was 4.5 stars on my review because of Zendaya. And again, not knocking the actress. Like I think she was fine.
No, she drives me crazy. She's the part that made me the most mad in Euphoria. I was just like, I can't
Yeah.
stand this. I don't know if it was her
Yeah,
acting or if it was a character. I don't know.
yeah, and to her credit, like I want to see her do more things because like I don't think she's bad, but I do
I
remember
have.
thinking
I
like
don't want to see more.
as far as like being a sand desert person, I just didn't get that vibe. Like honestly, like it almost felt like someone that was like removed from like or high school, like from
Yeah.
California. And she's like,
Oh,
we
totally.
had to move. Like she's almost like that daughter that's like, I hate you, Dad. Why do we have to move out into the middle of the freaking desert? All my friends are back in Cali. You're like, that's literally her character she's playing in this one.
All
Bless
right.
your heart, Zendaya. Maybe you're a great person. But
Next floor.
next floor, yeah, for all the reasons I mentioned, it reminds me of that childhood book. I think it's a perfectly fine short. I've only seen how many shorts have I actually seen that wasn't a Disney animated Pixar short? This is like one of 8 shorts I've ever seen. It's great. It's fine. I don't get it. I don't know what it means. This is just like me watching Enemy. I'm like, what's the deeper meaning of it? I think a platform when I watch it. I don't know. A B. It's fun to talk about. It's kind of gross to watch. Everyone
Is
just keep
that
eating.
isn't that amazing? Like literally. Oh, I think Cameron's the only one that had a movie of his on C tier. But still, to not have any D or Fs. Just
Yeah.
saying. Just saying.
Yeah, like yeah, he doesn't direct stinkers. I think he's a very it's funny because I always see that some people are like upset because they feel like they're ride or die by director like there's Christopher Nolan heads, there's people that didn't even know. Martin Scorsese, I'm a huge fan of his, but even I like will admit when I don't like one of his films. So like to me, it doesn't make sense where people are ride or die, like they'll love anything that they do. But I obviously was so excited to see Killers of the Flower Moon. Maybe that hurt my viewing experience, my bias. But I will
Hmm.
give that movie another shot because I do want to watch it. But I'm like, sometimes part of me thinks when I rate movies, like what is it that I need to get out of it? And part of it is like I do want to know what the filmmaker intended to do and did they achieve their goal, right? Like Dune, I almost feel like is it just meant to entertain, like, or is this supposed to be like a deeper meaning? Like obviously like all the symbolism and everything, but like Denis Villeneuve is like one of those great directors that still makes me feel things, right? Like Christopher
Yeah.
Nolan, I feel something when I watch it. It's not just like a movie like no offense, but Outlaws. It's not an Adam Devine comedy where it's just a stupid movie. It's like I feel a lot when I watch these movies, and that's really cool to be moved or to be emotionally spoken to. So something that's missing from anything that's the big corporations have been pumping out lately, it seems.
Yes.
So
So I'm gonna be talking about my ranking.
yeah, let's hear your ranking, Jordan. Because I'm actually curious to see because I feel like so far Cameron and I had pretty close. I think I
Yeah.
ranked Dune Part 2
I
higher
I
than
think
you
our
did.
lists will be pretty similar.
Dune Part 1 lower.
Okay, so his first film, August 32nd on the Earth. I watched this yesterday as well as Cameron, and I'm glad I finally watched it because it was the last of his movies I needed to see. And while I appreciate it as well, like Cameron, I am surprised that we both gave it a 6, but I'm giving it a B. I don't think it's like C tier. I don't know.
How is a 6 out of 10 at B tier? That's crazy.
Isn't it? That's B, isn't it, Ty? 6 out of 10?
Jordan, 6 out of 10 is 60%, which is a D.
No, it's not.
It literally is.
Okay, well,
Did
I'm
you
still
see
giving it
Graduate
a
High
B.
School?
I'm still giving it a B because it was fun. Maelstrom, I absolutely love this movie. I'm like teetering back and forth if I want to do an S tier. It's so good. I've seen it a couple times now. I'll do A plus for now. Maybe I'll bump it up. We'll see.
You said Maelstrom is the A tier?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's
So
teetering on
good.
S
Are you
tier,
kidding
dude.
me? I love that movie.
You think it's better than Enemy?
I'll get there. Polytechnique. This one, like Ty said, I don't think and I think Cameron mentioned this too. Just I don't know if I can ever rewatch this movie, but it is incredible, and I just bawled my eyes out. Just how sad it was. Oh, geez,
Dude,
it's
someone
like
give Denis Villeneuve a hug, man. He likes sad movies. Like all
um,
his movies are so
it's hard to
sad.
rank it because it's like it's just an incredible film. I don't know, A minus, I guess maybe for now. We'll see. Maybe I'll change that because I just don't. I'll never come back to it. But I just like wow. On Sunday. Also another one. I mean, it's basically Polytechnique Part 2 because it's just the most depressing movie I've ever seen. It was really good. So I'll keep it A for now. Maybe we'll change that. I don't know.
People popping like popcorn.
Prisoners, I mean, we can all agree I'm almost positive it's in all our top hundreds and it's a masterpiece. Like Ty said, it doesn't there's no better detective movie.
Yeah. That's what's so crazy. Like when you get a movie like that, you're like, oh, this is like how they should make
Yeah.
these films, right? Like I said, it's literally the Saving Private Ryan to war films that it is for detective films.
All right, so Cameron, Enemy is an amazing movie, and it's weird because the first time I watched that, I was like, "What the crap did I just watch?" And
Gave it
then,
a C, gave it a
and
D.
then, like Ty said, the discussions about it elevated it, made me love it more. And the second and third or whatever time how many ever times I've seen it, I'm like, "Holy crap, this is S tier." But this last viewing, I don't know what my deal was, but I didn't love it as much.
Yeah, buddy. Come to
So
the
it's
dark
either
side.
A minus or B plus. I'm having an A for now, but I do like Maelstrom better. Sorry, Cameron. The fishes beat the spiders. I don't know what it
Yeah,
is.
fish
Misguided
one
soul.
fish gobbled the freaking spiders, man.
Rewatching Sicario, it is a masterpiece. Like I was like, is it A? No, it's perfect.
I don't
It's
understand, dude.
perfect.
7.7 stars? What's wrong with you people? You guys
Yeah.
are dumb. Even Dune
Um,
Part 1 gets
it,
freaking
if
8 star. I don't understand. Like
so
freaking Sakura is so good.
Arrival, if you had asked me after I saw it in the theater, I watched it 3 times in the theater because I was like, this is the greatest movie of all time. But since then, I still love it and it's still great. So it's A plus, but not quite masterpiece, just because he has too many good ones to compare to. But he is so good at sci-fi. Oh man, maybe it is S tier. I'll think about it.
He is
Blade
like an
Runner.
S tier sci-fi director, I would say. Yeah. Like because
Yeah.
like I'd probably say like Ridley Scott, Denis Villeneuve. Like I had to name like a sci-fi director, I'm like, oh, I'd have my team of Ridley Scott and or Denis Villeneuve. Like, and I'm trying to think of a third one, but like
Blade Runner 2049. Obviously not as good as the first, but
yeah, how does
in
that
my
affect
top.
your opinion of it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's in my top 10. It's a perfect sequel. Like if there's anybody to make a perfect sequel, it'd be Denny. S tier.
Dang straight.
And Denny's in my top 10 favorite directors. Okay, so Dune Part 1, it's a D. I'm sorry, it sucks. I hate it so much.
No way, dude. You do
Dude, I
not hate
don't
it that
like it.
much.
I don't think people need to watch it. I just think it's
That is
boring.
hilarious,
I think
dude.
it's
Guys,
boring.
hot take.
I
Hot
know.
take.
I know. That's why I'm like, and I tried asking at the beginning of the podcast, I'm like, what about it? Like, why did everybody seems to
Why
like
do
it.
people like this?
I just well, when we reviewed it the first time, I was trying so nice to be nice about it because I'm like, I love Denny and I want people to keep giving it lots of love and attention because I want
Oh,
him to
so
keep making them.
Jordan's one of those Denis Villeneuve heads I've been talking about. Guys, he just showed his true colors.
I
Jordan's like,
did.
gonna
I'm
lie
sorry.
about what he really thinks
No,
about
but
his
I am a
films.
Denny head because all his other films are like basically S and A tier.
Yeah, but he
And
didn't care for
so,
Dan.
and Dune was just, I don't know about I was so mad for not loving it. Like I was actually mad at myself. I'm like, what's wrong with you?
So Jordan
Something's
did not say, you doing good, Danny. You doing good.
he did. He
You
did with
doing
parts.
bad.
He
So
did
he
with
said, you didn't score a D, Danny.
it's
Oh
A
my
for
gosh.
Dune.
Guys, this is killing me, Jordan.
It's L for
Stop
love.
it. Get level with
That
me
doesn't
though.
mean
Help
love,
for love.
Ellen.
Please level with me and tell me that you're not like, oh, no one gave any Denny films a D. I'm gonna drop one hot deuce. Hot deuce. I'm
I was
freaking
gonna
Dune
give it a
Part
C
1.
because I
Stop.
appreciate it.
Stop. Oh my word, you're kidding me.
Okay,
That's insane. Okay,
and
where does Dune Part 2 fit
okay,
in
and
all
Dune
this?
Part 2, Okay,
Is
I
it
know it's
S?
I know it's recency bias, and I'm gonna watch it again, so maybe that'll change, but it's S tier. And just making a correction on my Christopher Nolan list, Oppenheimer is an S tier as well. So
Making corrections.
which my Oppenheimer tie was like in a C or something like
I
that, or
know
B.
that blew me away. I was
Yeah,
like,
and now after
blew me
rewatching
away.
so I mean that just goes to show like this could change. I doubt it because the second time I watched Dune, I liked the part one. I liked it less.
Oh, see, that's interesting because
Yeah,
yeah,
I was like,
I think I liked part one more.
Coming from the person whose favorite movie put him to sleep the first 3 times he tried to watch it. I'm
that
like,
is true. You're right. So it might
Which
change.
movie? Which movie put you to sleep?
Blade Runner
Blade
20. Blade Runner the original.
Yeah, I fell asleep a lot. Oh, the original one. Interesting.
Yeah.
Get out of here, falling asleep at 2049. Shame on you, Ty.
Yeah, I fell asleep 3, 4 times. I remember waking up and being like, "Someone's drowning! This is so exciting!" But I'm like, I missed it. I don't know why this was important. So anyway, yeah.
I
So
was like, I don't remember this part of the Notebook. What's going on?
I
my,
wrote you every day.
and then the last one is Next Explorer, just as a bonus, A tier. It's a really fun.
Next Floor. Sorry, I thought you said Explorer. I was like, is that a new
Explorer.
movie?
Next Floor. So
Explorer.
great short, Denny. You're amazing. Only one I haven't watched of his shorts is Cosmos. I started it and I kept falling asleep, so I don't know. I might
I
try.
don't think you were sad enough to watch it. You should be sad
Yeah.
when you watched any of his work.
But seriously,
Brooding, sad,
like gosh
angsty
dang,
teen.
I cannot wait for part 3 of Dune. Like if it's anywhere as near as this one, as good
I
as this
know.
one.
See, that's the interesting thing because like I think like a lot of the general consensus is a lot of people agree that like Dune was a good adaptation to the book. And I haven't read the book, but they were like, as far like, and again, they've compared Dune as like an unadaptable book to screen because they're like, there's too much, it's so heavy. But I'm like, I don't know, like everyone seems to agree, and especially with how much they're praising Dune Part Two. But again, I feel like narratively it does feel more complete, and I agree with you, Jordan. Where you're like, you almost feel like you don't need Part One. But I feel like it's tough to say that because I can't. You know,
And
it'd be
I
such a
get
cool
it. I
experiment if we
get
could
you're supposed
erase.
to know and be
Yeah,
mad at the guys for killing his parents and getting that connection between him and his mom. But I feel like you get it all in the second one. Like I
they
don't
killed
know.
his parents. I think only his dad died, but
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying they came in and destroyed out their whole like
yeah,
society. So
yeah,
it's like you want them to get it all back. I
yeah.
just feel like maybe they could have cut the just a few parts they could have taken from that, maybe cut it, done done like a quick highlight at the beginning or something. I don't know. That's not how Denny does his
It's
movies.
Danny Villeneuve's voiceover previously on Dune. It's
Yeah.
just 2 minutes of like Arrakis, we're warriors, poison pill, and then them
Yeah.
climbing in the vent, and then
See, and there's a few
part two
moments
starts.
that there's a few parts of it I was like, oh, I like that. Just anyways.
I
All
liked
right.
I like little darts that are like
Yeah.
coming through. He's like, get it off my back, get it
I
off
don't
my
get
back.
it.
Like, couldn't he
Eh,
just move? But I think it was already in his shield. I don't get how the
eh,
bullets work in this thing.
Any final thoughts before we wrap it
Yeah, how do the freaking bullets work? And the knives, I don't
up?
get it. They're like, we have shields, but if you use a blade, you cut through them. I'm like, okay, so you have the shield to protect you from what exactly? Well, the lasers. It's like, well, yeah, but nobody uses lasers in this. And if they do, they always have bullets that like they go and then they slow down and then they like drill and then they nail it. I
Peace,
like it.
everybody.
Paul turns into Robin Hood essentially. It's great. Steal from the rich, give to the needy.
Chip and shatter.
May it chip and
Yeah.
shatter. Oh, jeez. He is the Messiah.